Hi guys, welcome to this video. I'm going to try to keep it quite quick and short just to sort of show you a few additional things here in DaVinci Resolve. I've got my scopes off to the side as usual. I usually have them on a second monitor out the way, but I'll try to sort of just keep them floating in this monitor so you can see them. So I've got these shots which are available on week 10 and they all come with a short description of what needs doing. So this one, for example, says make the buildings darker and make the water warmer. This one says warm the beach up. This one says keep the flame in color but make everything else black and white. Okay, and this one sort of says and make the house spooky. And the reason I went for those kind of descriptions is because you'll usually find if you're doing some kind of color correction and grading, that's exactly what you're going to get, right? If the person sort of was able to grade it themselves, they would probably be doing it themselves. So most times, you know, you're doing this stuff for people who don't really perhaps understand the process. So they're not going to say, oh, the tonal range needs to be extended or anything like that. They're just going to be like, I want this shot to look spooky, or, you know, this shot looks a little dark, you know, and you've got to then figure out, okay, what exactly do I need to adjust to get the look that they want? So yeah, there's a few shots. This one says replace the sky. This one says bring out the color in the shirt. But rather than going through all the videos and making a very long going through all the clips and making a very long video, I'm just going to focus on this first one in this exercise, which, like I said, says just make those buildings a bit darker and warm the water up. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is just adjust the tonal range as usual. So we can see we've got a big spike there towards the sunlight, and then everything else kind of falls off. So I'm just going to extend that out a bit so that sunlight reaches the top, and I'm going to pull those shadows down a bit. You'll see by just doing that I've made it darker anyway in this area, so I might already be happy with what I've got, but I'm going to add a second node, and I'm going to look at this, and I can see the buildings are generally in the sort of mid to sort of lower range. So I'm going to take those two areas, I'm going to just bring them down slightly on this new node, and there we go. Okay, and again, remember, if you want to, you can change the label. So we can put total range, and we can put dark buildings. Okay, so I know what each one is doing. So I've done that, and I'm kind of happy with what I've got there. So the other thing was warm the water up. Now this is where it gets a little more trickier, because if I'm just trying to warm the water up, I can't really do it with a selection. So what I'm going to do is add a new node. There you go. I'm going to just push this off to the side for now so we can see some of these controls here. I'm going to use a selection, but you'll find it won't work very well. So let's turn on I forgot what the button's called now, highlight, okay, which will show us in grey the areas, you know, that we haven't selected, and in colour the areas we have. And you'll see that if I click across, it's selecting the sky alongside it. Okay, it's not even select the buildings, go for the sun, and it's going to select the brightest part of the sky. So I'm not really going to be able to do it using the hue, saturation, and luminance. That's not going to work. Now, I could try just one of those, but again, you'll see that in general, the hue, you know, the color in the image is kind of spread out there. Yes, this water looks a little cooler, but like I said, in general, it seems to be applying sort of across the image. The luminance, again, won't work because we've got very bright areas of the water and then we've got dark. So again, it kind of stretches across. So, I mean, possibly a little saturation isn't as strong here as it is up there, but I think you're going to get the same problem. So we're not going to use this. Instead, let's use something we know works quite well, a mask. Okay, so on this new layer, I'm going to just go in and, sorry, a power window. Should remember that. I'm going to use a power window. Okay, so I'm going to stretch that across there, stretch that across there. So we've got the whole water. Now, you obviously you may have noticed it's not a static shot. The shot does pan up, but we'll have a look at that. Sorry, tilt up. We'll have a look at that in a moment. So always apply a bit of a feather because that's the thing that allows it to blend in. There we go. And I'm going to try it just like that for now. So I'm going to leave that as it is, turn it off so I don't have to see it. And I can work on the grade. So if I look at that, again, we can see it's in the whole range, but the water I'm trying to tackle is most likely going to be down here. So it's kind of in the mids and the shadows. So let's just pull. Now, if I pull that down a bit, obviously it's making it a little bit darker, but we'll stretch it out. Okay. So just stretch that water out a bit, and then just add in slightly the warmer tone that I'm looking for. That's up to me how much I want to sort of adjust that by. And still got my highlight on. Sorry, I was wondering why I had the grey on the top there. And there we go. So you can see now, if we just disable that for a second, that was the water initially, that's the water now. So we've really warmed that up. Problem we've got is obviously the shot is moving, so the mask stays sort of where it is. And actually, I was going to look at tracking. I'm still going to look at it anyway, just to show you, but it kind of works. It's sort of the mask is there, still there, and it's not tracking or anything like that. It actually just works without it. And I would say that if you don't need to use any additional features and that works, that's great. Yeah, so you can see the mask is moving up because it kind of fades out anyway. That sort of works well. Okay, so I would say actually that's fine. However, let's say we did need it to kind of move along, or stick to a particular place and not just move along with the video. You'll notice here you've got a little tracking icon. Press that. We're on the first frame. We can track backwards, we can track forwards. Because we're on the first frame, we're going to track forwards. There you go, and you find that Resolve actually has a very good track ability. There we go, and that's it, and it's done. And now it will hold it there instead. So again, we can turn that off for a second just so we can see it, and it will remain down there and it won't follow up. So you can see there's a slight bluish tone there because of the way my mask is set up. I could extend it if I wanted. But that works really well. And just to show you that again, so you can see it track along. Yep, works really well. So yeah, that's how we would track that if we needed it.